But first tonight, we're working developing news in the 38 Studios case. Federal authorities have filed fraud charges over the failed deal.
The civil complaint is against the state's Economic Development Agency and Wells Fargo. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission alleges the state and the bank defrauded investors when they sold $75 million in bonds to fund Curt Schilling's video game company in 2010.
Eyewitness News reporter Perry Russom's been tracking the developments and joins us now live from the mobile newsroom.
Negligence is one of the key words that was mentioned in the complaint. The SEC says the Economic Development Corporation and Wells Fargo did not disclose enough information about this deal. A monumental moment in the 38 Studios story. The Rhode Island Economic Development Corporation and Wells Fargo charged with fraud.
We need to get to the bottom of it, and this is part of that process. But beyond that, we got to move on.
As the governor tries to move on from the failed $75 million taxpayer-backed loan, civil charges were filed in federal court by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission on Monday. The SEC says the EDC and Wells Fargo were reckless, failing to make it clear 38 Studios wasn't going to get enough money to finish their project. A judge could fine both groups, which means the taxpayers could be on the hook to pay again.
At the same time, we're pursuing our lawsuit vigorously. I want to make sure we get back every penny of taxpayer dollars that we can.
A spokesman for Wells Fargo says they will challenge the charges.
I think the people of the state have been waiting for somebody to be held accountable.
Eyewitness News broke the story about an SEC investigation into 38 Studios in 2013. Last year, House Oversight Committee Chairwoman Karen McBeth added her voice to the calls for the SEC to take action.
Certainly, I think this again calls for having an inspector general in our state. Oversight is one thing, but having somebody there that's not part-time that can oversee all of this, I think that's an important piece to this that I'm going to continue to push.
A lawyer for Vice President at Wells Fargo says the SEC is using them as a scapegoat instead of focusing on the mistakes of Rhode Island politicians. Live in Providence with the mobile newsroom, Perry Russom, Eyewitness News.